Imagine a king so obsessed with purity, he married his own bloodline. His mother, his sister, even his daughters. Egypt tried to erase him, but the sand still remembers his name. Have you ever looked at someone and thought, that's my sister, my wife, and the mother of my child? Pharaoh Akhenaten did, every single day. He didn't just marry his sister, that would be too simple. He married his mother. Then he married all 6 of his daughters, one by one, as they came of age. And the children they had? Deformed, twisted spines, elongated skulls, bodies that barely functioned. But here's the truly shocking part. When Akhenaten died, Egypt tried to erase him completely, smashed his statues, scratched his name off every wall, burned his temples. Why? What did this man do that was so terrible Egypt wanted to forget he ever existed? This is the story of the pharaoh who broke Egypt, the incest king, the heretic, the man history tried to delete. And his son, you know him, King Tutankhamun, born from incest, dead at 19, with a body so damaged he could barely walk. Welcome to ancient Egypt's darkest secret. 1907, the Valley of the Kings, Egypt. British archaeologist Edward Ayrton was digging in a forgotten tomb KV 55. It had been sealed for over 3,000 years. When they opened the sarcophagus, they found something strange, a mummy, but not like other pharaohs. The skull was elongated, almost alien. The hips were wide, feminine. The bones were delicate. "Is this a woman?" one archaeologist asked. But the inscriptions said king. For decades, nobody knew who this was. The cartouche had been deliberately destroyed, the name scratched off. It wasn't until 2010 that DNA testing gave the answer. This was Pharaoh Akhenaten, father of King Tutankhamun, and the DNA revealed something horrifying. Akhenaten's parents were brother and sister, and King Tut's parents, also brother and sister. This wasn't just one generation of incest, this was a dynasty built on it. But why? And what happened to this man that made Egypt want to erase him? To understand that, we need to go back to 1353 BC, to the day a young prince became pharaoh. Before we continue with this shocking story, if you want to learn more hidden truths from history, please hit the like button and leave a comment. Your support helps us uncover these forgotten stories. Now let's go back to ancient Egypt, to the boy who would become the most hated pharaoh in history. 1353 BC, Thebes, Egypt. Prince Amenhotep was 16 years old, second son of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. He wasn't supposed to be king. His older brother Thutmose was the heir. But then Thutmose died, suddenly. Some say illness, some say poison. And just like that, Amenhotep became crown prince. His father, the pharaoh, was old, sick, dying. The priests of Amun, Egypt's most powerful religious order, controlled everything. They owned 1/3 of Egypt's land. They were richer than the pharaoh himself, and they had rules, ancient rules, about gods, about power, about how Egypt should be run. Young Amenhotep hated them. "Why do we worship so many gods?" he asked his father one day. "Because that is tradition. The gods have made Egypt powerful. But you are Pharaoh. You are a living god. Why do you bow to priests?" His father didn't answer, because he knew the priests had more power than him. When Amenhotep was 17, his father arranged his marriage to his own sister, Princess Nefertiti. This wasn't unusual in royal Egypt. Pharaohs often married their sisters to keep the bloodline pure. But it was symbolic. They had other wives, other children from different mothers. But Amenhotep, he took it literally. He looked at Nefertiti and thought, if I marry my sister, our children will be pure, divine, perfect. He was wrong. 1351 BC. His father died. Amenhotep IV became pharaoh at 18 years old. The priests of Amun expected him to follow tradition, worship the old gods, let them control the temples. But within weeks, Amenhotep shocked everyone. I am changing my name, he announced. I am no longer Amenhotep. I am Akhenaten, servant of the Aten. The Aten, the sun disk, a minor god that nobody worshipped. And from today, we worship only the Aten. All other gods are false. The temples of Amun are closed. The priests were horrified. You cannot do this. Amun has protected Egypt for 1,000 years. Amun is a lie. I am the only one who speaks to God. Through me the Aten speaks. This wasn't just religious reform. This was a declaration of absolute power. No priests, no intermediaries, only Akhenaten. The priests protested. The people were confused. But Akhenaten didn't care. He did something even more radical. He abandoned Thebes, the ancient capital, built a brand new city in the desert, Akhetaten, horizon of the Aten. And he took Nefertiti, his sister wife, and moved there, away from the priests, away from tradition, away from anyone who could question him. In Akhetaten, Akhenaten was God, and what he did next would shock even his most loyal followers. 1346 BC. Akhetaten, the new capital. Akhenaten and Nefertiti had 6 daughters. 6, no sons. In ancient Egypt, this was a problem. Sons inherited the throne. Daughters were married off to create alliances. But Akhenaten had a different idea. Our daughters are divine, he told Nefertiti. They carry pure blood. They cannot marry foreign princes. They must marry within the family. Nefertiti looked at him. Who will they marry? We have no sons. Akhenaten smiled. They will marry me. Nefertiti's face went pale. You cannot be serious. I am Pharaoh. I am God. My blood must stay pure. They are your daughters, and they are divine. This is the will of the Aten. Nefertiti knew she couldn't stop him, because in Akhetaten, Akhenaten's word was law. The first daughter, Meritaten, was 12 years old when Akhenaten married her. 12. At 13 she gave birth, a son, deformed. The baby died within days. But Akhenaten didn't stop. He married the second daughter, Mekhetaten, 14 years old. She died in childbirth. The baby died too. Have you ever watched someone destroy their own family and been powerless to stop it? That was Nefertiti's nightmare. Watching her husband marry their daughters, watching them suffer, watching them die. By 1335 BC, Akhenaten had married 4 of his 6 daughters. The children born from these marriages were wrong. Elongated skulls, spines that curved unnaturally, limbs that didn't work properly. Some couldn't walk, some couldn't speak clearly. One baby was born with a skull so large it couldn't hold its head up. It died at 6 months. The palace doctors whispered, "This is what happens when brother marries sister, when father marries daughter. The blood is too close." But Akhenaten refused to listen. "They are divine. The Aten has blessed them." He even commissioned statues of himself and his family. And the artists, for the first time in Egyptian history, carved them realistically. Akhenaten's elongated skull, his wide hips, his strange body, his daughters with their deformities, his wife Nefertiti looking away, distant, broken. These statues shocked Egypt. Pharaohs were supposed to be shown as perfect, strong, godlike. But Akhenaten showed the truth, and the truth was ugly. Then came the birth that would change everything. 1341 BC. A daughter of Akhenaten gave birth to a son. His name was Tutankhaten, later known as King Tutankhamun. DNA testing in 2010 confirmed it. Tut's parents were full siblings, brother and sister, both children of Akhenaten. Tut was born with a club foot, a cleft palate, a curved spine. He needed a cane to walk. He had malaria, bone disease. He was the product of generations of incest, and his body paid the price. 1336 BC. Something strange happened. Nefertiti vanished. One day she was in every inscription, every carving, every ceremony. The next day her name disappeared. Some historians believe she died. Some believe Akhenaten banished her. Some believe she spoke out against the incest and was silenced. There's a darker theory. A relief carving found in Akhetaten shows Akhenaten with an older woman. The inscription is damaged, but some scholars believe it says, "Mother-wife." His mother, Queen Tia. If this is true, Akhenaten didn't just marry his sister and daughters, he married his own mother. There's no definitive proof, but given everything else he did, would it be surprising? After Nefertiti disappeared, Akhenaten's daughters took her place. They appeared in official ceremonies as his sarcastic great royal wives, plural. Multiple wives, all his daughters. Egypt was horrified. But in Akhetaten, nobody dared speak against the pharaoh, because those who did disappeared. 1334 BC, Egypt was collapsing. While Akhenaten obsessed over religion and his family, the empire was falling apart. Egypt's enemies, the Hittites, invaded the northern territories. Letters from vassal kings begged for help. "Send troops, we are under attack." Akhenaten ignored them. "The Aten will protect us." The economy collapsed. The temples of Amun had employed thousands. Now they were closed. People were starving. Plagues swept through the cities. People prayed to the old gods in secret. And in Akhetaten, Akhenaten sat in his palace, with his daughter wives, with his deformed children, completely disconnected from reality. The priests of Amun, who had been forced underground, began plotting. The military generals who were losing territory joined them. Akhenaten must be removed. But how? He is Pharaoh. Then we wait. He is sick, weak. He won't live much longer. They were right. Akhenaten was dying. The incest had damaged his body too. He suffered from genetic disorders, hormonal imbalances. His immune system was failing. 1336 BC, Akhenaten died, age 38. And Egypt breathed a sigh of relief. The moment Akhenaten died, the priests of Amun took control. First they took young Tutankhaten, the 9-year-old heir, changed his name to Tutankhamun, living image of Amun. Not Aten, Amun. They moved the capital back to Thebes, abandoned Akhetaten. The city was left to rot in the desert. Then came the systematic destruction. Every statue of Akhenaten smashed, every temple he built torn down, every inscription with his name chiseled off, every reference to the Aten erased. It was as if Akhenaten never existed. Official records listed the pharaohs, Amenhotep III, then Tutankhamun. No mention of Akhenaten. He was the non-king, the heretic. His daughters disappeared from history. Some historians believe they were killed. Some believe they were locked away. None of them are ever mentioned again. His body? Desecrated, moved from his tomb, possibly destroyed. For 3,000 years, Akhenaten was forgotten. Egypt succeeded. He was erased. Until that tomb was opened in 1907, and the truth came out. Young Tutankhamun became pharaoh at age 9. He had no choice. The priests controlled him. But Tut's body was already failing. Born from incest, he suffered constant pain. His club foot made walking difficult. He needed canes. Over 100 were found in his tomb. His cleft palate made eating and speaking hard. His immune system was weak. He caught every disease. At 18, Tut married. His wife was his half-sister, Ankhesenamun. Another incest marriage, because that's all they knew. She became pregnant, twice. Both babies were born dead. Both were so deformed they couldn't survive. One baby girl was born with spina bifida. Her spine didn't close. She died immediately. The second baby was born with Sprengel's deformity. Her shoulder blade was fused to her spine. These babies are still in Tut's tomb, mummified, preserved, evidence of what incest does. Tut died at 19, 1323 BC. Some say malaria, some say infection from a broken leg, some say murder. But really, he died from generations of incest. His body was so damaged, it's amazing he lived as long as he did. With Tut's death, Akhenaten's bloodline ended forever. 2010, Egyptian Museum, Cairo. Dr. Zahi Hawass and his team conducted DNA testing on royal mummies, including Akhenaten, including King Tut. The results shocked even the scientists. Tut's parents were full siblings, Dr. Hawass announced. Brother and sister. Both children of Akhenaten. Akhenaten's parents were also closely related, possibly siblings or first cousins. We found evidence of genetic disorders, Kohler disease, malaria, bone necrosis. The DNA didn't lie. This was a dynasty destroyed by incest, but there was something else, something the Egyptian government didn't want to publicize. Several female mummies from Akhenaten's period showed signs of death during childbirth. Young girls, teenagers, with babies that were too large for their bodies. These were likely Akhenaten's daughter wives, who died giving birth to their father's children. The government quietly reburied them. The full results were never published, because even now, 3,000 years later, Akhenaten's crimes are too disturbing to fully acknowledge. Today, Akhenaten still exists, in ruins. It's called Amarna now, a tourist site in the Egyptian desert. You can walk through the remains of Akhenaten's palace, see where he lived, where he ruled, where he committed his crimes. Archaeologists have found something disturbing in the workers' cemetery. Hundreds of skeletons, young people, teenagers, with signs of malnutrition and overwork. These were the slaves who built Akhenaten, worked to death, for a pharaoh's mad dream. The city was abandoned within 10 years of Akhenaten's death. Nobody wanted to live there. It was cursed. Even today, local Egyptians avoid it at night. They say you can hear voices, crying, the ghosts of Akhenaten's victims. Akhenaten ruled Egypt for 17 years. In that time, he destroyed a religion, collapsed an empire, and ruined his own family through incest. Why? Some historians say he was mentally ill. Some say he was a visionary who went too far. Some say he was just a narcissist who believed he was God. But the result was the same: suffering, death, deformity. His daughters forced to marry their father. His children born with bodies that barely functioned. His son, Tutankhamun, dead at 19. All because one man believed the rules didn't apply to him. Today we look at ancient Egypt and see pyramids, gold, power. But behind that power were real people, real victims, real suffering. Akhenaten's story isn't just ancient history, it's a warning about what happens when one person has absolute power, when nobody can say no, when tradition is thrown away for ego. The Egyptians understood this. That's why they erased him, not just from walls and statues, but from memory. They wanted future generations to forget, to never repeat his mistakes. But we remember, because history's darkest chapters teach us the most important lessons. If this story shocked you, share it, because these are the stories that don't make it into textbooks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Every week, we uncover the hidden truths that history tried to bury. And remember, the past is darker than you think. But knowing the truth, that's how we make sure it never happens again. The end.